Welcome to You, Me and IT, the podcast taking us behind the title of some of the leading individuals in the IT channel. I'm Karlton Gray, UK and Ireland Channel Director at Schneider Electric, and in each episode I'll be speaking to leading figures in one of the UK's most prominent industries. For this episode, I'm pleased to welcome someone who has been a key influence in the IT channel for over 20 years, not only champions women in the industry, but is an active part of the channel's growth for bringing in new talent. Dr. Colin Williams, Business Chief Technology Officer for Security at Computacenter. Hello and welcome.
Hello, Karlton.
I think for how we start this always is, where did you start? Like, where are you from? Like, what was life like back then? Like, I think you were a little bit older than me, not a lot.
Yeah, just a shade. I don't always go that far back in these conversations, but let's do a little bit of it today. So we touched on it earlier on. I'm close to 60, so I don't mind saying that. I'm almost proud to say it because it means I've had quite a rich journey. But if I go back to almost the mid-80s, when I really started to forge some sort of career in the IT industry, there wasn't really an IT industry as such. Back then, we were still in an era where mainframe computers were still prominent.
Where are you from though?
North London, born and bred in North London.
Whereabouts?
Place called Edmonton.
Isn't it?
Oh God, but it's still North London.
Yeah,
as long as you're not South,
I was
okay.
Wales, and I was born in South, but
Yes.
yeah.
I don't know why people don't realise there isn't actually another part of London apart from North.
Yeah,
It just stops at the water.
my friends will be upset for the guys in Leighton, but I'm East London boy, I would say. Yeah.
God, not real London, is it?
Yeah, there you go.
That's Essex or somewhere. I don't know.
But I'd say, sorry to cut you. I was just you're from.
Yeah, North London. Grew up in North London. 2 sisters, one older, one younger. Middle child, boy between 2 sisters. So in a West Indian family, that means your parents try to hand you down girls' clothes, which is not going to really work, because West Indian parents do like passing clothes around.
And anything.
So that's pretty much it, really. Share everything.
Yeah, and then so you.
Yeah, so I mean, let's do a tiny bit of school thing. So I was blessed and cursed, and I've mentioned this before a few times. I was one of those. They had lots of names for the kids back then, but let's say it was a gifted kid, right? There's lots and lots of names, and it's a double-edged sword. But I was a gifted kid in primary school. It meant I could remember things. So you'd have lots and lots of tests where they put lots of things on a tray, and I'd look at it for a split second. I'd know everything on the tray. Mathematics things, reasoning things, anything that required a critical thought process. It was just, I didn't understand why it was easy, but it was easy, to a point that back then teachers almost thought I was either lying, making things up, guessing, or being mischievous because they couldn't believe that I knew the answers to things. They couldn't believe I finished things so quickly. So the reason why I mentioned double-edged sword is back then it meant that I kind of often had teachers who kind of go, Colin's very disruptive because he's finished all his work literally in 90 seconds. And I'd almost sit there and say, what's next? And they'd go, you can't really have finished yet. And almost storm over and say, he has. Oh, you must have copied then. I haven't. Copied from where? Oh, you must have borrowed it. I said, but where? I'm 9. Where am I going to get the stuff from? There's no chat GPT back then. So it was tough being a gifted kid back then and also being probably one of the few black kids back then. So at a time in your life when you're trying to be the same and conform, and so you're always in everyone's games, I was different, A, because I was black, and different, A, because I was smart. And so I probably went through a bit of a weird identity crisis when I was younger, almost saying, well, if I dumb down a little bit to try and fit in, then everyone will like me if I just stop being smart, because I can't stop being black, so I never stop being smart.
You became me for a little while.
Stop it.
No,
I believe that.
We had a similar girl. Shout out to Tatcha. She was so intelligent and used to sit next to me. I'm from primary, and I used to just sit there and think, wow,
what's going on?
I'm not clever at all. I don't know where she is today, but yeah, she was an inspiration. I still remember her name. Just sat there and just thinking.
But yes, so back to what it was good and bad, right?
Yeah.
I suppose that was the very young me when I went to senior school, and this is probably the wrong approach now when I reflect on it. But I kept that same persona. I tried not to be too smart. So if that was causing me pain in infant school, primary school, when I moved to senior school, when it's even more important to fit in, like 11, 12 years old, got to fit in either by fighting someone, being good at sport, or being some cool, good-looking person that everybody wants. So I could play a bit of football, wasn't cool, good-looking, could fight a little bit. So I just kind of found a way of making sure I didn't stand out. So that means being too smart, and again, being a minority back then wouldn't have been good. So I hate to say it, and it sounds really crap to say it now, still dumbed down at that level just to fit in. It was tough then because I lost my mum at 13. So just joined big school, a year or so after joining big school, lost my mum. Don't mind saying my dad wasn't great. So I actually walked out of my house at 16 and a half. Walked out, got thrown out with nowhere to go. So genuinely, leave now or it's going to end badly for either of us.
Yeah.
So I literally almost walked out my house with a bin liner. Walked across the road to my friend who lived across the road to say, I've kind of got nowhere to live at the moment. Can I just stay at your house for a little bit until I work out what's going on? And then spent about a year or so just trying to find what I was going to do. Stayed with my aunt for a little bit, stayed friends for a little bit. And then I think I was about 18-ish. And luckily there were those housing associations back then with a one-bedroom flat housing
That's what we were on,
association. And I kind of managed to get a one-bedroom flat in a housing association. And dare I say it probably saved me from
Yeah.
disappearing into the ether. And that was almost the start of me coming out of the school world, coming out of a bit of a tough start. And then that's when I kind of almost allowed myself to be smart again, right? Technology was prominent then. Mainframe computers were the main thing. PC computers were starting to emerge. Wasn't really there, starting to emerge. So IBM had taken their mainframe expertise and made the first range of PCs along with Apple. Again, I just got it. Don't know why I got it. I just understood it, right?
Yeah.
Computers are logic, right? I'm very good with things like logic and critical thinking. So even though I had no prior expertise, no academic training, I could just understand how to get a computer to do things in a very, very basic way back then. And that's what got me into IT. So I managed to, as you do, bluff my way into some very, very early help desk support type jobs. And from there, just by getting in and fixing things and installing things, that's almost like the mid 80s type stuff. When the IT industry was about to take off, because
Yeah.
if I almost date myself, Microsoft then wasn't the company Microsoft is now. Microsoft then had a very, very simplistic PC operating system, character-based black or green screen.
DOS.
MS-DOS as was, and IBM had an equivalent one called PC-DOS, and they both competed against each other. Microsoft sort of won that war more because IBM just didn't really want to play in the space.
Yeah.
IBM brought out a Windows-based version of that operating system called OS2. Wasn't very, very good. Microsoft brought out their first version of Windows. So again, dating myself, I was in the industry almost at the start of this Windows thing that we're seeing now, and I've been fortunate to be in it for the 30+ years from that day till now.
So where did you start then? So from looking at, or we have the IT resellers of today, who did you start with?
Yeah, there wasn't. There were very few IT resellers. So the Computacenter that I work for now were actually an IT reseller back then. I think originally in Bristol. I actually was very, very, very fortunate. I started contracting back then because there weren't enough IT people who understood IT. So you could actually if you could bluff to somebody that you understood basic PC fundamentals, you could get a contract at a technology company.
Do you know what's so weird, by the way?
Yeah.
And I've said it before, so this gives you the picture of my IT skills. I came from a removal man into the IT world at Midwich.
Oh yeah.
So when I first started, I worked in an office. I worked at Abbey as a photocopier, NatWest as a glorified photocopier.
Everybody was an
again.
admin assistant at one time, right?
But I when I started at Midwich, they would like make 60 calls out a day, 4 hours on the phone, or 3 hours 45. I didn't know how to email, so I used to walk around, and it jumped. That gap just jumped in it. So from no emails, no nothing, there was like your own internal systems to this external thing called email.
Yeah.
I was going around and putting post-it notes on everyone's screens. My boss called me in the office and said, "Oh, Carlton, just let you know, you don't need to do that. So everyone else is banging emails out. I was going round to the office, just putting my name on. And the problem was, is I didn't know everyone's name. So I'm sitting there writing names. So-and-so just called for X, Y, and Z. But that's how I got into the
Oh my
IT
God.
world. But yeah, sorry to.
Well, right, if someone from the modern generation hears that now, they go, really?
Yeah. You were
What,
like,
you mean there was a world before with no email
no email,
and
no
no WhatsApp?
Netflix. Yeah, no WhatsApp. Yeah. So,
So yeah, I was, again, I was fortunate that because I understood technology, it was pretty straightforward in the absence of people. Right? So if you haven't got many engineers, and you then can sign on an agency and say, I'm a PC engineer, I'm a technology engineer, I'm an IT engineer. There are lots of jobs. So I ended up doing contracts at Rank Xerox, no longer here. They were the photocopy company.
okay.
Right? They
Yeah,
were the
yeah.
big photocopy company. I worked for British Telecom for a while. Everyone's worked for BT at some point. I worked in their data centers, where if you look at technology now, doing things like creating punch cards to put instructions and programs into a mainframe with punch cards.
People won't understand what you mean by punch card.
And then you put 100 cards in this hopper, and there's a misfeed at card 70.
Yeah,
And then it bends in. You have to do it all over again. Oh,
but what I'm trying to say is, if you speak to people about videotapes, about cassettes, about this, again, my children will look at me and go, "What are you on about, Dad?" I'm like, "The video, you put it in the
different world.
I put my wedding on. Well, I didn't. I was at my parent-in-law's over the last weekend, and they put a CD, like DVD, into the old DVD player with a SCART lead.
Yeah.
And my kids were like,
Shock.
"What's this?" And it was our wedding pitch, wedding, but it was 3 people's wedding on the same
Yeah.
cassette
Yeah.
because people were just recording,
Yeah, that's right.
like boom, boom, like
And only a few people had the technology, right? So
yeah.
somebody would say, I'll put it on the same disc.
It's a segue, by the way, because I know you spoke about music. Because it bumped into my head because we used to. Do you remember the old cassettes that used to cover the bottom bit with a piece of tissue and a black or a bit of cardboard and put it over so you could then, and you'd be at the radio listening to the tunes and you pressing play, record, and then taking it off, and then you get the 2 cassettes and tape it.
I
Yeah,
think I've still got a double cassette thing in my loft.
yeah.
I've still got it in my loft.
But no. So keep going then with
Yeah, so yeah. Worked at BT, worked at Rank Xerox. So if I look at the BT job was my last job in mainframes.
okay.
If you think of British Telecom back then, everyone's phone bill. The only way you were going to create someone's phone bill was on a big computer, mainframe. There are still big mainframes all over the globe in enterprise customers. People would be amazed if they realised how many mainframes still exist, but back then. So I came away from BT. And then after BT, everything I did was almost aligned to what I call the PC-based era that we kind of know today. So PC desktops, PC servers. And I think my biggest turning point, after hopping around various places, I worked for a reseller, a very small compact reseller called Atlanta. And I was fortunate to get a job working for Compaq.
Okay.
So Compaq were one of the most innovative, exciting companies of the time. Think of them as being a company that came from, I think, from Houston, landed in the UK, done well in America, and they were pretty much the organisation that drove the PC-based business, and then drove the PC server business. In other words, have a server connected to a network, and share and save your files on this server on a network. Another company that's kind of no longer here is a company called Novell. So Novell were the people who actually created a PC-based network so you could connect servers and connect laptops and desktops together so people could share files. Compaq created the servers that you store the data on, and also some of the first portable computers that you could actually carry around. So I was actually at Compaq at the time when so much happened in IT.
Yeah.
That then gave me almost a bit of a unique persona to say, I was here at the start of this industry, and then from there, it allowed me then to go pretty much from company to company to say,
I've done this.
I've done this. I know more than other people, and if I didn't know, I'd just bluff it at the time. And then that started my career in the channel as such.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Compaq was a channel reseller, they sold through resellers. There are a lot of people very famous today in the industry who either started working with Compaq, or they worked for a reseller that allowed them to resell Compaq kit. In time, Compaq was a bit wobbly and was bought by HP, and then pretty much the Compaq name disappeared.
So again, so you're now I wouldn't call a road warrior, but
Yeah,
but
been around.
but that's what
Been
the
around, yeah.
terminology was, up and down the country,
Yeah.
doing the compact thing. How did you land where you are now?
Yeah, so I've been at Computacenter 18 years. Before that, I was at a company called Morse. Morse were a really, really clever company. So if you think of the dot-com boom, that
Yeah.
really drove the internet. Um, one of the main engines behind that was the ability to run Unix-type servers from a company called Sun that allowed you to deliver high-performance computing at scale. And a lot of the dot-com boom was driven by companies like Sun. Morse was a massive Sun reseller, a massive HP Unix reseller for big HP Unix platforms, and also other Unix systems. I was fortunate to go from one of my other companies to come to Morse. I was at Morse for a good few years, and then was headhunted from Morse to join Computacenter. So if I combine those two together, probably the last 25 years of my life would have been Morse and Computacenter together. The good news about Computacenter, if I go back then, nearly 20 years ago, fast forward now, Computacenter was the biggest then.
Yeah.
Still is the biggest now. Substantially bigger now. And then when you're at somewhere like Computacenter, with so many opportunities to do different things, because the company's so big, we talked earlier on about meritocracies and stuff.
Yeah.
You work hard, you back yourself. It's a company that you have to back yourself every single day. So if you work hard and back yourself and believe that you can either do something that you haven't done yet or do something the company needs, you're almost given the latitude to say, go forward and get it done.
I would say very similar to Schneider
Mhm.
is, I used to say I worked for APC, right?
Yeah, I saw the
Right.
ABC thing there.
Yeah, there's APC in here,
Mm.
but I used to say I work for APC, which now I tend to say I work for Schneider Electric,
Yeah.
which at the start was like APC. But when you understand the size of Schneider
Which is
and
significant.
where they're at and what they do is
Mm.
unbelievable, and it gives you so many opportunities to develop and grow and become a different version of the person that you started
Yeah.
with when you first walked in the door. Because I remember walking in, and like I said, I came from distribution. I walked in, I thought it was like Google. And do you know what it was? It was in Potter's Bar. It had a couple of blue chairs. And I'd come from like almost a rows of desks.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is
Good.
great.
What's this sci-fi company?
Yeah. And I came in and I didn't get, I say I got headhunted. I just got one of those LinkedIn messages back, was 10 years ago, saying, would you like to come here?
There's no LinkedIn in my day.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It was that,
Yeah.
and I just went for it, and then by chance, I did the interview prep. I don't know why I did it like I did it, but I always say to do it like I did it. That sounds
Good.
really weird, but yeah, I truly believe that working in, sometimes people choose to move around in different like from job to different
Yeah.
companies, but if you're in the right place, the
Yeah.
right environment, moving it, having the I'd say the opportunity to move around in the same company sometimes is just as good as
It doesn't work for some people, right?
no.
Because there are some people who don't like the big company thing because you can get lost.
Yeah,
Right.
100%.
And they'd rather leave to go somewhere else to go and find themselves in somewhere smaller to build their brand, build their persona, and then maybe come back into a big company. So I know big companies aren't for everybody because, I touched on it earlier on. If you're serious about advancement in a big company, you've got to back yourself. Standing hoping you're going to be found isn't always the right answer. You've got to put yourself forward. You've got to network in the right places. You got to make sure you've got the right capability set. And then when your opportunity appears,
Got to grab it.
got to grab it.
What's your brand then?
Well, I'm old now, so
No, but everyone's got like,
I hope if you ask somebody else what my brand is, they'd say, he works really hard. Like, probably too hard. Something I'm managing now. When I was younger, I worked too hard. And I often say to people, be careful on that because you can over-rotate and then forget other things that matter to you. Family,
Yeah,
friends, your
100%.
health, your mental state. So, thinking that you need to be chained to the desk, chained to your job isn't always the right thing. So I work too hard. I do work hard, but I'm managing that now. We touched it very earlier on. I'm really fair. If you're fair and decent to me, then I'll be in the trenches with you, literally last man standing, even if I only knew you 5 minutes, doesn't matter, right? That's how I've always been. I I believe in you as much as I believe in me. And it sounds really, really fluffy to say that, but all the people that I work around, I want you to have the best career. I want you to be the best version of yourself. I want you to have the best experience. I want you to have the best life. And everything I can do to help with that, I'm all in. Because I know the best you is also the best you for me as well. And we all win from that. So I'm really, really helpful to other people around me. I mentor bloody hundreds of people. I always have done. Because I want people to maximize a lot of talent they don't believe they have or many times can't see. I suppose the last thing would be, I don't take myself too seriously. I never have done.
Well, you're like the 20-year-old version of me.
I never
Like,
have done.
no,
I can't. We all do things in the same thing.
Yeah.
We all bleed the same way. We've all got the same bits to some degree. I will never ever believe that I'm better than you because of some fictitious thing I've created in my head. I suppose all of that together is pretty much the same brand. I often say to people, if you meet my daughters, the person that you meet then is the same person that I see. And if you meet me, if you met my best friends, you met my sister, the person I'm at work is exactly the same person I'm out of work. There's no other me. There's just one version of me. And that's what most people would see, and I hope they say.
When did that start? Because I think when you're in the place of mentorship and you get a different reward, because when I was a lot younger, maybe similar, everything I wanted was from a monetary value,
Yeah, yeah.
and I wanted everything around me was, I have to look like this way. I
Yeah.
have to be this way. Don't get me wrong. I still want to look a certain way. I want to be seen as in a certain
Yeah, I
way.
get it.
But, and then for me, when I had children,
Yeah.
that's when it super changed me. Like, it made me actually get value out of people rather than selling a load of kit. And because I've always been a salesman, that's my bread and butter. That's where I started from. But when I start seeing people that I've had a touch point on or help someone, that for me, that I get more satisfaction around that than, don't get me wrong, I want to earn money.
You
I
still
want
wanna be a
to
winner.
be, but actually watching other people win and coming back, and
It's enriching.
yeah,
It really is. I was quite fortunate and blessed. I touched on it off camera. My late mum was a nurse, and I still say to people, I've been through some tough times, right? And there's some rough edges to me, and there's some bits that if you scratched it too much, you definitely see another side of me. By my mum. My mum's a nurse, so everything about me from a very early day was to care about people, care for people. I'm really, really, even in the hardness, I'm really, my close friends, I genuinely have got their backs. I mean, I was fortunate because I'm 60. A lot of my friends are 60 this year. So there's only been 4 60th birthdays, and you see the same friends that you went to school with from 12, 13 years old, and we keep on taking a picture, almost in the same line as we were. We've got a picture from school days.
Jericho or something.
Oh, don't! It's terrible. No, I've got no hair now. I had no hair then.
Okay,
So I wasn't even beneficial then. And when you look at that, and you think about the journey you've been on, and I have people then who cared about me, and there were 4 girls in some of those pictures. And at the last session, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, at somebody else's 60th, I said the reason I couldn't really get to it, I literally had to do like a 2-hour drive to get to 60th for half an hour, to then do a 2-hour drive back to where I was. And she said to me, thanks for being here. I said, I had to be here because you 4 were with me, for me, at a time I didn't realise I needed you. And that was when I was 12, 13. And people have invested in that way to me. So I invest that way to them. I just care for and about people all the time. Even though externally, if you said to people at work, this soft version of Colin that he's just explaining, they don't see it, right? Because I'm snappy. I'm like, I want that. Why isn't that done? But even that is because I want you to maximize the talent that I can see that you can't see.
Yeah.
And if you're swimming in mediocrity, and I can see that, I'm going to keep on nudging you and tweaking you to say, you do realize there's more. And to your point, on that day when you then strike and you almost blown away by what you've achieved. And you'll kind of sometimes you'll bump into me in the corridor and you'll say almost like a child gleefully, "Oh, you never get, I closed this massive deal, I did something," and I'll go, "Oh," and I'll say, "I knew you would." It was never in doubt in my head.
There's certain people I say that to as well, and they go, "Oh, thank you," and I'm like,
No,
"No,
no, no,
thank
no, no,
you."
no, no, no,
Like, but
no, no.
thank you
Agreed.
because you were the one who did
You
it.
executed.
I didn't do it.
Yeah,
You were there. It was always in the background,
agreed,
but you just enabled yourself to
agreed.
do it. So it's just
I just helped you to believe in you when you probably didn't, and that's all I did.
for again for I suppose for the podcast. But you, I'm not trying to get deep in me,
That's right.
but you said off camera. Just I want people to understand
Mm.
this is when did your mum pass?
Yeah, 13 and a half.
Yeah.
She had cancer for about 6.5 years. So if you look at that, 13, probably half of my life. I saw my mum getting in that hospital. And if you go back then, cancer right now um, is a very, very easy to transact
Yeah.
conversation. Cancer back then was still a massive experimental drugs. She was on experimental drugs every other day. That made her either swell up, be really, really ill, just even sicker, slightly better than really, really sick. So if you're 7, 8 years old and you're watching your mum, who was a nurse, who was a carer,
Yeah.
then sit in a hospital bed being cared for by effectively her equivalents, other nurses, and you just don't understand why isn't it just something you can buy from Boots and it just goes away. Um, so yeah, I I think about my mum every day. Um, just about every action that I do that calibrates my behavior. My mum calibrates that to a point that I can't do things that are really, really dysfunctional or really bad, because in the back of my head, I'd almost say that's not what my mum would have done. I can't. It's almost like, if, of course, there are times I want to do something really, really soppy, but there's almost a limit. There's a line I couldn't cross because my mum would always stop me from crossing that line, even now.
I think there's a voice, isn't it, that you have from your, especially your mum. And my mum was
Mm.
similar. So even if she's not there, I say, is it well retired? If I got back, my mum, and my mum wasn't afraid of showing you up in front of anyone and
Oh,
everyone.
God, yeah.
So, but it was like a case of, this is how you speak, this is how you act, this is
Yeah.
how you respect people.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, sometimes you might play a by line of,
Oh,
but
that's
it's
called
all
growing,
growing,
right?
yeah. But I think ultimately your inner self and the person that I want to be like is, don't want to be my mum,
Mm.
but I want to emulate some of the stuff that
Yeah.
she's done and make. And I said it
And
before,
your
but
mum's not perfect, right? No human being's perfect.
exactly.
But there are wonderful qualities that I'd like to believe everyone can and should get from their parent, right? It's not always the case. As I mentioned, my dad wasn't, right? And there's almost, I didn't speak to my dad for 22 years. And when I finally spoke to him, because my sisters got us together, I remember I sat with them, my kids were there, and I said, I don't forgive you, so I don't need to. I don't need to. What I will say is, I respect the fact that you reached out to me the way you did. You wrote a long letter, and you wrote this letter. And if you hadn't read the letter, if I hadn't read the letter, because I didn't read for ages, I still wouldn't have met him. Well, I read the letter and I kind of went, okay. Again, respectfully, I'll do you the courtesy of meeting you. So I met him. I said, I don't forgive you. I don't need to. But one thing I have learned from you is and who I don't want to be.
100% the same.
He was a bit shocked to say it. I said, I need to say that because a lot of the experiences I had with you have defined the person I am now and the choices I've made, and have ensured that the parent I am to my kids isn't the parent that you were to me. And I totally understand that you had your own challenges. I get that, and I'm no perfect parent. But there were definitely lots and lots of attributes and behaviours that you had that I will never ever have or exhibit to my kids.
When my dad, similar, but my brothers were reaching out to me, my younger brothers, and saying, like, basically want to see me. That my dad moved to Wales when I was 15, but didn't tell me. So I just, wow, he's just gone. But I didn't really talk to him then anyway, because I don't believe in some of the things that he does. And then I literally got to Wales, and then the day before it was a customer event. So I went to out in Manchester, and I got drunk, really drunk. And because I was so nervous, it all
Mm.
building, so much so that my wife was with me at the time, with my girlfriend at the time. But I left the room, and my daughter was only 2, right? So she stayed in the hotel, and I went out with this work thing, but it got more drunk than I should have got. And I remember knocking on the door softly, but having to go down to hotel's reception to let myself back in. So then I went to Wales, and again, similar. My dad said, stand up and let me see you. So instantly, my wife, she said, you just stood up like you were a child again.
Mm.
And he made me parade and turn around so he could see me, almost like
Mm.
viewing me. And then I was so like scared of the
Yeah, you
man,
regress back into being a
a
yeah.
child,
Mm.
straight away. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I clicked, and I was like, he said to me something about my mum. And for people that know me, my mum's not 100%, like she had a stroke and whatnot. But I said, it's none of your business. And he got up to fight me.
Wow.
And the only thing that stopped me and my father having a fight was my daughter started crying.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And she was putting her hands out to her dad.
Yeah.
And I just thought, wow, this is the man that you're trying to make me into. All of it, like instantly, like the violence and stuff were all.
That doesn't work.
And I was like, wow, I'm about to have a fight with my dad.
Mm.
It's crazy. And then I thought, you know what? And from that day, I was like, there's no respect. I don't respect you. I don't care about you. And he asked to hold my daughter. And I said, the following day, I said, you know what? You could hold your grand. In the morning, I saw him in the morning. I think this is one of the last times I saw him. He said, I'm coming up to see Darcy, my daughter. He went to the bookie shop. I never saw him. And I was like, wow, that's how much you care. And it's a super, like, kind of deep, but it's like, how do you process that as your child? Like,
And the only thing you can take away from that is a lot of that has fed into you to show you
100%.
who you don't want to be.
Exactly. And I think you have to take, sometimes, and I heard this the other day, is take something from everything.
That's
And
the
it's
same.
so
I learn the best and worst of everybody that I meet, and I decide which bits I want to hold on to.
yeah. But that's even, like when you get a phone call and someone says, oh, you need to do this training course, and you go, oh, right? If you pivot that in your head, and it's hard, but you actually go, I'm going to take the 1% out of this
Agreed.
thing that I can get from
Agreed.
it. So it might be something really trivial, but unfortunately, you've got to do it.
Yeah, and there will be some value there if you look at it from a different perspective,
Exactly. So you've got to constantly trying to change your perspective on the
which not
outlook of
everyone
being.
can do.
I know, but this is the challenge, and this is I suppose, the educational piece for me, my children, and the next
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
generation, sort of thing. So, but and I don't know why it's popped into my. What is your? I should have said it at the beginning, right? What's your actual role?
Yeah. So
What
what
does
do I
it
do?
mean? You've got a long
What do I do? What
title,
do I do? Yeah,
but
me and
yeah,
my long title, which is now shortened,
yeah,
thankfully. I'm fortunate, based on the journey we've mentioned. I understand most domains of IT, right? Most domains, data, platform, systems, coding, networking, cybersecurity, you name it, right? So let's call me the ultimate IT generalist because I've been around a
okay,
long time. But the last 10, maybe 15 years has been predominantly aligned to anything cybersecurity, anything networking.
okay,
So in the company I'm in the UK, a lot of the strategic decisions that we make around cybersecurity, vendors that we work with, some of the areas that we focus on, the skills that we develop, the point of view that we adopt. So at the end of this week, Sunday, I'll be jetting off to San Francisco for 4 days for the nonsensically large RSA Security Summit in San Fran with 50,000 people, very, very new early stage vendors, some barely at the first round of funding, very, very early, all the way through to the mature vendors that you see right now and everything that's in between. So if I looked at RSA as an example, what I do for 4 days, I'll try, and it's almost like it's a personal quest to try and do it, to get around to as many of them as I can. I'll try and prioritize the ones that make sense. I'll write something up. I'll try and think about it, and I'll either try and understand how we can monetize them moving forward, try and understand how they deliver value to our customers, right? So in many cases, I have a lot of relationships with most of our customer CISOs, CIOs, CTOs. So for a lot of them, I'm going to RSA almost with their hats on, saying, if I'm big bank, big pharma, big retailer, what things are beneficial to them? So I'm almost looking for existing technologies in that area, also new things they haven't thought of. So that's kind of one dimension. I'm involved in lots of sales pursuits. So you mentioned you're a seller, big sales campaigns. I'm involved in those. I get involved in escalations. We've run a long time. And when you're old, people don't shout at you, which is right good. I do a lot of mentoring people. I do a lot of coaching people. I do quite a lot of early stage stuff. So if you look at the advent of AI in the last probably 5-7 years, I'm doing a lot of stuff in that area. If I'm not, let's say for me, almost to help my organization, people around me, to be realized that for the next 5, 10, 20 years, the AI era that you're seeing now hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, 100.
So for many people, similar to me 30 years ago, if you don't invest the time to decide who you want to be in this new era, what persona will I have in this new era? What will my skills be, my capability? What brand will I have? How will I maximize my human talents aligned to some AI augmented talents in this brave new world to make this new person I'm going to be? If you're not thinking about that now, in the next 3 to 5 years, you'll be left behind. So a lot of the work I'm doing right now is helping people, to realize, this is a seismic shift. This isn't just a little nudge. This is a seismic shift. And for people who are serious about being in the technology industry for a decade or two, let's do 10 years, you're going to have to make career development and almost professional branding decisions in the next 18 months to decide who you're going to be in this new world.
So you've done all of this.
Yeah.
Right. So you've done I would say the corporate, you've pushed and driven yourself. You have, again, I'm not going to talk about it too much because you've not mentioned, but you've got 2 wonderful daughters. One of them I really like because of the football team, but it's great. But yeah, a great family around you. What's next for you? Because like I said, for me, the reason why I asked you to be on it, some of the stuff you spoke about, when we went for dinner at that Doug's event, I thought were really poignant. I thought the messaging that you get out to other people to attend some of these places, I think is really important. So just so other people know about it.
Let's paraphrase some of this. I've been privileged, blessed to be in the IT industry as was and still is nearly 40 years. Has it always been easy? No. Has the journey been an easy one throughout? No. Is it easier now? Probably. But it's still not fair and equitable. It's still not balanced from a representation point of view, whether that's a minority point of view, whether it's a woman point of view. There are definitely more women and minorities in the IT industry, but there aren't many in senior roles. So if part of my journey had been be the best you can be, show you the best you can be, not because you happen to be black or male, but just because you're the best you, right? Therefore, advance based on that. That's what I wanted to show, and to a degree, I've shown it. But if I look around, that still isn't the norm. So a lot of the things I do right now, we touched on it, right?
Yeah.
They're not guided by diversity and inclusion at all. They're guided by the fact my mum was a nurse, and she taught me how to be fair and decent to people, regardless of what packaging they've got or what colour they happen to be. And so if I'm going to carry on doing that for as long as I'm still in the industry, a lot of the things I do are almost to use the fact I've got a fair voice and I've got a fair amount of reach and I've got a fair network, and in many cases I can be listened to. So if I keep encouraging the whole industry to be fair, to be decent, to open doors to people who may not look like the common people, open doors to people who just want a chance, right? And if they mess up after the chance, fine, but just all they want is a chance. So a lot of the stuff I do is almost encouraging the industry, because I can be listened to say, your talent pool your skills pool, your potential for absolutely transformational ideas is far greater than you can currently see. But you're going to have to be brave as an industry to open those doors a bit further in communities or areas that you've never opened before. And I can guarantee you it'll unlock so much talent, so much potential. But it starts with you, the industry, deciding to show up differently, which will encourage other people then to turn up differently. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is almost just using, you touched on brand. I'm fortunate that whatever this brand is, it's half decent. I'll leave it there. And so if I can keep showing up the way I do show up, and therefore using that to open doors for others, then that's what I'll do until I decide to retire.
I think that's really strong. And that's part of my belief as well, is enabling others. Equality at the central view for me is, regardless of where you are or who you are, giving everyone the opportunity. And some people may fail. It is what it is.
Yeah,
But
and
actually giving them
they
the
may mess
opportunity.
up, right?
Yeah.
Give someone a chance
Yeah.
to either, I often say, give someone the rope to either hang themselves or pull themselves up with, but just hold out the rope.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Very true. And I think I'm in a position now where hopefully I can change. That sounds really bougie, but I can change someone's perception on what it is to be in the IT channel.
Agreed.
I'm not super well educated. I appreciate that. But I did okay at school.
Mm-hmm.
My mum took me out of what I would class as a rough school and put me into a more of I would say a better school.
Mm-hmm.
But everything I've done has been on my own merit. Like my house, everything that I own and wear and whatnot, like my family, is on my own merit. And I think giving someone else that opportunity to develop and grow, for me, that's.
But a lot of it starts with how you show up. And as you're right, you show up in a certain way. You demonstrate that in how you behave as a professional. You demonstrate that in the way you behave as a person. That persona that you show, that brand you show, inspires others and has others to aspire to be you. Because I work with a community called TCAP, and we often talk about the fact you can't be it if you can't see it. So a lot of it starts with the people who are currently in the industry showing up in the right way, demonstrating their capabilities in the right way, behaving in the right way. So people almost say, if I act as if I'm him or her, if I behave as if I'm him or her, if I aspire to be him or her, then maybe I've got a chance. So that means every day you still have to show up the right way, every day. As long as you keep doing that, then you're opening doors for others mentally, you're inspiring others mentally, and you're doing what you should do. That's kind of what people should do in the world. I know that sounds, again, very, very fluffy, but surely that's just how it's supposed to be.
I mean, you'd be surprised. I think you've obviously said about the three things that people would describe you as, but what do you want your legacy to be? So when you're maybe 80, 90, 100,
Just around the corner.
but when you're not there, when people say, "Oh, do you remember when?" or "That guy was," or "He," do you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah. I think too, I want my daughters to test any future partner they have on who I am. So I want my daughters, when they select the partner they have in life, almost to say, I'm comparing this person to my dad and how my dad was. And they're going to use me as a bit of a benchmark for whoever. That'd be one. The other one would be for future people to say, I want to be like him. I want to be like him. I want to be like him professionally because of what he achieved. I want to be like him personally because of the behaviour that he exhibited. And I want to be like him because of what he's left behind. That'll do.
Yeah.
It's got some work to do for the next 20 years.
Sorry.
Got to make up some lost time now.
I appreciate you coming down. It's been amazing listening to your background, some of the stuff off camera that we spoke around, touched as well. Like it was great, but really appreciate it.
It's a privilege to be asked to be on things like this. There are lots of people out there that you can ask, and everyone's got their own story. So it's a privilege. It's a thank you. It's a privilege just to be able to sit here and engage with you and share lots of things that we've shared.